I just want to show you guys why I'm making this video. This started happening this weekend. I don't know why. This is my news feed. Mandela Effect. Mandela Effect. These are all these videos. Here's two right here. The Mandela Effect. Like they keep popping up. I don't know why. There's more, but I won't bore you. You get the idea. This is on the, you just go to your home thing on YouTube and they pop up suggested things. They're everywhere. And they started popping up over the weekend. And I was like, what the heck? I haven't watched anything with Mandela in the title. Sometimes they, if you watch something about veganism, then they pop stuff up about that. I don't know where they're coming from. And so after several of them over the weekend, I thought, let me watch a couple of these and see what the heck this is about. So this is about the fact that it's called the Mandela Effect because when Mandela died, Nelson Mandela, in 2013, some people thought they remembered him dying in the 80s. And the idea is that there's some sort of parallel universe mixing over or something. History's been rewritten somehow by these parallel universes being merged or crossing or people moving back and forth. I don't know. So I thought, that's kind of weird. Surely if somebody was going to be really altered by Mandela dying in the 80s versus dying in 2013, it might be a South African living under apartheid. That if he died in the 80s would have never maybe been abolished, right? So I started Googling around because I'm thinking it's a South African who woke up one morning going, what? And, where are my papers? I need to go to this. No, you don't need papers anymore. I'm thinking, like if we woke up and JFK's funeral was on TV and Jackie's old and alive and still has cool sunglasses and looks really sharp, but we're like, whoa, he died in the 60s. No, he didn't. He served 2 terms and his brother Bobby took over after. What? Like it would be South Africans that would be, are any of them talking about this? So I researched the origins of this and no, it's some white chick named Fiona Broom. It's hard to follow everything that goes on in the world. There's a lot that goes on in the world. That's okay. If you don't have your ear to the ground for a news story, even if it's on CNN, you're not going to necessarily pay attention. That's all fine. What's not so fine is to be so, I think this is narcissistic, to say, instead of saying with this person, gosh, we must not have followed this story very well, say instead the other. There's 2 options. Either I'm not remembering this correctly, or there's a parallel universe that's merging with ours, or people are moving back and forth in between them that has altered everybody else's memory, but ours and the few people that agree with us. I think that's narcissistic.
They knew their reality. Do you know yours?
I mean, come on, they have been making fun of it. I mean, remember April Fools with all the jokes with Sinbad, right?
Oh,
and
man.
then, how many people come out and, is it true that Febreze made a joke about it? And so didn't Fruit Loops just make a joke about it too?
Yep. Yeah, they did.
Something about Fruit Loops making.
Fruit Loops. I don't know about Fruit Loops. I didn't catch
Wait,
that.
what was Febreze?
Febreze made a commercial, something like, well, we heard you want more E's.
On April Fools. Yeah, they changed it on their Facebook page. They changed it to Febreze with 3 E's.
So now it's a marketing gimmick. Wow, guys.
Yeah.
I am disappointed in those advertising agents.
I know. Aren't they horrible?
They've sold out,
it's kind of funny, though, man, because in a way, because it's kind of like they're sort of acknowledging it at the same time, but they're trying to say, oh, we don't believe in it, but we're going to acknowledge it anyway because we're going to try and make some money off of this. But it's the same, it's still, for me, that's great. That's confirmation that these people know what's really going on, and they're not. I think they know.
They know something, but they're not on the right side. I think that it's more like,
of course not.
And they're indoctrinated deeply into this, system of lies. It's just lies. I don't know.
Well, it is that it's just like when you talk to people at these companies who are affected, you know how it goes. You ask them the question, and the next thing you know, they're like, yeah, I think I remember it that way. And then all of a sudden they just don't care. They're just like, oh, well, it just probably changed, corporate logo changes happen all the time. Really, at your own company, and you're Really? You didn't?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean, I remember Angela. She found a star in the Macy's. She went and asked all these employees, and they're just like, a lot of them were like kind of shocked to see it. Like they just never noticed it. And the star in the I guess it was somewhere in the Macy's logo, but it was like there was a star, but there was another star. There was like two now. And I remember she interviewed people, and it was like, I was like, go girl, you go get them. But the thing was, is like, they still didn't, it didn't really resonate. Like for us, we'd be like, wait a minute, what the hell? Hold on a second. That shit was not that way yesterday. Hold on, what's going on here? But for most people who see it, either they just, cognitive dissonance kicks in, or they just, find a way and find an excuse, or it just doesn't really, they just don't care.
I don't even, it is so unsettling to me, the apathy. That's the worst reaction.
Oh.
I mean, because I understand when people get angry. I understand when people get sad. I understand when people have a reaction. But when people have a blank stare, it's like they're making this choice. And it's like, oh man, no, don't go away. And they just sink into cognitive dissonance. And I mean, the thing is, like, it's reality, and our reality is not supposed to change. And so since we're making observations that are undeniable, intrinsically undeniable to all of us personally, and I think as a group, everybody is in enough numbers by now, at least on Berenstein, that, it's significant, it's real. But the Mandela effect is an effect. So it's kind of erroneous to say, I don't believe in the Mandela effect, because it's an effect. It either affects you or it doesn't, because it's profoundly personal to your
and not every effect, that's the weird part about it, is there are some people, I consider myself a deeply affected person, but there's some effects that people will come out and tell me about where I'm like, I'm not really affected by that, or I don't have I'm not really sure, I'm a dog in the fight. Okay,
right.
But it's what's great now, and like we've moved to a new era in this, and what I'm trying to say is, even people who have seen certain effects, who don't see even some of the ones I might put out, well, at least be on my, on the site, and when they do, comment, they say, well, I don't agree, but hey, my reality was this. And that's it. There's really not a lot of arguing going on. It's almost like we've come to this acceptance that there are going to be things you remember and things you don't. But most of us are, entrenched in this and agree that there's some weird shit going on. And that's the thing. And that's the nice part, is that even if you don't see every effect, you can at least understand when I put out, a video showing so much evidence one way. You may not agree with it, but it's, hey, it's like, okay, I see what you're saying. I see your point. And that's cool. I'm glad
So what you wrote down in the innocency of your heart. If anybody tries to tell you you don't know what you're talking about, I want you to count them as a very dangerous voice in your life. Count them, love them, and be nice to them, and all that you have to do in the natural. But I want you to know that that's not safe for you. Don't listen to nobody. You trust in what the Lord told you and what you know is true. Because this phenomenon has not only changed the commercial world, it has literally changed the text of the Bibles. And how?
There is so much of your Bible that's changed. Oodles and oodles and oodles of your Bible that's changed. And it's weird. I mean, that's just the only way you can put it. This isn't for the special few. I believe before all this is over with, everybody's going to probably see it. The ones that care to see it. It's not because we're special, and I honestly have thought that the worldly, unreligious, unchristian, unbiblical people are seeing more of this than religious people, because this ain't playing out the way you thought it was going to play out.
These aren't really necessarily Mandela effects. What I call them is just reality convergence. What I think is happening is that reality is converging on itself, or like a singularity, or different realities are becoming one. And we see this on a larger scale, where we see something major change, but we don't see the minor changes in our own personal lives. Now, how this reflects in our personal lives, and I want you to take notice of this, because I think it's quite important. It's like very quick changes that happen in your own personal life. And this could be like all of a sudden your friends change relationships very quickly, or you see a building get built in less than 2 months, you know, where else, you know, usually it would take like a year or 2 years for these buildings to get built, but all of a sudden you see an entire complex, an apartment complex, get built in 2 months. Or you have friends that get fired very quickly and they get hired very quickly to a new job. And see, I'm starting to think like these are different realities converging onto each other, where we've made decisions in different realities, and we are different people in different realities. So, for instance, let's say you have a different job in one reality. In reality A, you have one job. In reality B, you have a different job. So if those two realities converge, two versions of yourself cannot exist in one reality. So one has to fade away. So if your awareness is on reality B, eventually you'll lose that job very quickly, but immediately you'll get an offer for the new job. And you're like, whoa, where did this come from? Like, how did that happen? Or even with friends, all of a sudden you're not friends with somebody anymore, and it just happened. It's like, whoa, what happened? Like, or you see friends that make drastic changes and maybe in their appearance, and I've seen that in a few people. Like, whoa, where did this hairdo come from? Or you totally changed your style. Like, what happened? So, when it comes to my own current reality, yes, I've seen a lot of people, a lot of things just kind of change quickly. And it's not like immediate, like the day of, but it is a progression of things. And like I said, this is not a Mandela effect, but I do believe that it is a result of realities converging onto one another, and drastic changes begin to happen constantly. And that's what I'm starting to see on a more rapid scale, is more drastic changes happening with people that I know, physical landmarks, buildings getting torn down, buildings getting put up. They're just really crazy.
So, yeah, the Mandela effect continues to amaze. It's the never-ending Easter egg hunt, and I enjoy it. I mean, once the initial shock's over, I think it's incredible. Meeting ourselves again, this time that the Incas talked about that we'd be in. I'm going to be doing more on the ancient history stuff and prophecy because it's all connected. The blood moons, I'm looking forward to September 23rd. Not that anything's going to happen on that particular day. I don't think anything's going to happen on that day, but it's another transitional point. Just like December 21st, 2012 was a transitional point. Maybe the end of time as we knew it, that the Mayans were talking about. And then the end of the blood moons is when the Mandela effect took off. We had the 4 blood moon tetrad. I have a video on that. You can see it on my cover page on my channel. If you haven't seen it, it's incredible information that I put together on that. Have almost 1 million views on that video on my other channel, Shine the Light 73. So everything's connected. We're all one. Incredible times. I think a lot of things are going to be falling by the wayside in this apocalypse, everybody. That's right, I said apocalypse. The unveiling. The truth is being unveiled. The curtain's being pulled, everybody. We're in the apocalypse, which means unveiling. Doesn't mean end of the world. Could mean end of a world, a time, but it's not end of the world, everything ends. I mean, that's just fear-mongering from religion and Hollywood. So don't worry about that, but it's not stopping. But don't fear. There's nothing to fear with the Mandela effect. You're learning that you're a multidimensional being and that we're always shifting realities. So there's nothing to fear, everybody. Do not fear the Mandela effect. Go create the reality that you want.
So anyway, I just don't think that none of us really truly understand even to the magnitude of what's happening, and why even today Fruit Loops has gone back to the original. And maybe tomorrow we might know, but as of today, it is we're walking in territory that none of us have ever walked in. We've never walked it out, and the end of time is playing out. So we get to watch it, you know. And I always say we've got front row seats, and I think what a privilege that God has allowed us to be here to watch this. So anyway, love you.